Alright, here we go. So this is Aeon Legacy, if you're not familiar with it. It is a deck builder, a co-op deck builder, in which we essentially take on big old bosses. It's a boss fighting simulator. When I say legacy, I mean that from game to game, it's essentially a campaign game. And what you do in one game might affect what resources you have in the next game. So there are 8 or 9 chapters here, which most of which were we play once and then move on. If we lose, we may be asked to replay the mission, etc., etc. And right now, a lot of the rule book is kind of blurred out because we haven't unlocked those rules yet. This game evolves as you play so that you get more and more mechanics. So first things first, I'm going to name the characters. So let's see, we'll go with Noden. There we go. And Elydra. Elydra, there we go. So the way the game is played is, let me eliminate these hand. So the way the game is played is at the beginning of every turn, we flip over the turn order deck to find out who is going. So it could be Noden, Elydra, or the Nemesis, which is the name of the big boss. I'm just going through and labeling all of these really quick. Alright, there we go. There were 2 of every card in the deck, and regular 2-player rules, which is what we're playing. I really like Aeon's End Legacy. It's my favorite. Aeon's End is one of my favorite board games, and so Aeon's End Legacy is one of my favorite legacy games. So we'll go through it together here. "You are not breach mages yet," Brahma lectures as she paces down the line of students, her frail form belying her immense power. "Breach mages have protected us since the beginning, since the burning of the world and our pilgrimage into the dark. It was they who founded Gravehold, our last bastion. And if you wish to stand beside these living legends, you must listen and learn. The Nameless shall come again, as they always have, and you will need to be ready. You are the hope of our future." As a young apprentice, you grew up to stories of the Breach Mages. Brahma, the teacher, wisest of the mages. Desmodia, the prodigy, master of great magic. Mist, the stoic leader and tactical genius. Malistar, the magical craftsman. Rebellious, powerful, and reckless would perfectly sum up Zaxxas. These mages are your heroes, and tomorrow, after your ordeal, you will join their ranks. Each of you must overcome your ordeal to learn disciplines and focus, the tools you will need to defend Gravehold. We are nothing without Gravehold. To be a breach mage is to sacrifice your life for Gravehold. When you die, it will be defense of our city. Once you understand this universal truth, only then will you be ready to become a breach mage. Okay, and then it wants us to read through the whole rulebook. Which I'm not really going to do because I'm very familiar with Aeons and Aeons and Legacy, and I will kind of go through a brief overview of the rules for those of you not familiar with them. So this is a deck builder. On your turn, you'll typically prep spells so that at the beginning of your next turn you can cast them and damage things with them. And you would typically play crystals or other gems in order to buy cards for your deck. So cards can be anything to better gems, what are called relic cards, which is a kind of event one-time use cards. I say one-time use, you discard it and then you'll get it in your deck again later. Or better spells that do more powerful things. So, what are we trying to do? We're trying to beat the Nemesis, and the Nemesis can have plenty of HP. Usually they have 50 to 70. 50 is pretty weak, but maybe they'll have 80 if they're really powerful, sort of thing. So you don't want to be dealing just one spark of damage per turn, because then it takes you 80 turns to get through there. In general, they're going to have some powerful things that they're going to be throwing at you too. Every nemesis is different, and they all have unique abilities and mechanics to mess with you. Once you've played cards, they'll go in the discard pile.
I'm so sorry to interrupt your streaming, but I just thought it was important. I don't want to be in the video. I look horrible today, but I just thought it was important to share a cuddly kitty.
Yeah, well.
Do you have your video on?
No.
Oh, no. Where's your mic? Maybe we can just put her purring up against your mic.
It's somewhere along there. I don't know. I don't think you'll get it.
They won't hear her purring.
Probably not.
Well, just so you know, people on the internet, we have a very cuddly kitty right now who is purring. Maybe one day you'll get to experience the adorable cuddliness of our kitties.
Probably not. They might get to experience seeing the kitty.
Seeing the kitty, maybe hearing the meows or the actually they probably did hear BG's meow a few minutes ago. It was one of her.
Yeah, well.
Okay, you may commence.
What?
You may commence.
Okay.
Or recommence, I guess.
So yeah, at the end of your turn, you'll discard anything you're not going to use, draw a new hand of 5, and if you ever can't draw, you take your discard pile, flip it upside down, and continue drawing from it. You actually don't shuffle your discard pile.
Which I really find that It throws me off a lot when I haven't played in a while, but then it's really nice because you can plan a little bit. I mean, I'm not as good at it as some other people who can keep track of things more, but you can kind of plan ahead what future hands will look like.
Well, especially in Tabletop Simulator playing on my own, I tend to see, okay, what is my next hand going to look like exactly? Because I know what's in my hand, I know what's in my discard, I should be able to guess what's in my um, deck, etc., etc.
Yeah. See, you are among the people that are better at keeping track of things than I am.
But anyway, that's what you do on your turn. On the Nemesis turn, they have two phases. A phase where they resolve cards that are currently in play, and then after they resolve those cards, they put a new card into play. And really, that's basically it. There's some other rules that, like, there's a whole rule book here, but the big thing to know is that the player turn is casting, then playing, then drawing. You don't cast any spells normally, you just prep them to be cast next turn. And that's really the only thing to pay attention to. So, let's give this first mission a shot. On the morning of your ordeal, you awaken to your barracks door slamming open. Brahma and Mist enter, lifting a wounded breach mage Zaxos from a stretcher to one of the empty beds. You arrogant fool, Brahma chides. Zaxos clutches his injured side. We needed the power, he frowns. I didn't know. You've doomed us all, Mist snaps, pressing two fingers against her temple, trying to concentrate. Outside, alarm bells ring as an earthquake shakes the very foundation of the building. In the distance you hear explosions. Mist looks grave. It is here. Zaxos, face white with terror, moans, "No." Brahma and Mist leave Zaxos as they rush to defend Greypole, and you follow, knowing you must do whatever you can to help. You emerge into chaos. Gravehold is burning and screams fill the air. Above you, a breach swirls, the largest you have ever seen, expelling a colossal orb of blades. Fireballs pelt the Nameless, but its minions are plentiful. You can only watch as one mage is torn to pieces by a bladed warrior. As the flames push back the darkness, you see the bulking form of your foe descending, surrounded by its ruthless army. Rama staggers away from the fray, coughing and cradling a freshly wounded arm. Desmodia and Malistar are holding the line, but we are overwhelmed. You have much learned, but there is no time to spare. Gather your wits and hold off these creatures however you can. Focus on the minions to protect the breach mages. You must work together. Give them the openings you need, and let us focus on the needed. Each of you are a link in the chain. Do not break. Alright. It wants us to read Maelstrom setup instructions. It says place the assist deck without shuffling it next to this mat face down. It also doesn't want us to shuffle the Maelstrom Nemesis deck. At the end of your Game versus Maelstrom. If you won, read the back of this card. If you lost, read the front of the next card. Alright. We don't know where Maelstrom came from or how it traveled to this place, but it was drawn in by an experiment conducted by the breach mage Asaxos, who was seeking to learn more about the nature of our breaches. We have never before seen a nameless as large or as powerful as this one. Its spinning blades are heavy enough to crush buildings in one blow, and it fights with an army of deadly minions. If it is allowed to reach Gravehold, I fear we are all doomed. So this number here is actually the difficulty of the Nemesis. It goes from 1 to 10, which means we're starting with the most powerful and difficult Nemesis in the game. This number is the health that it starts off. The Unleash does whatever. We will occasionally draw a card and it will tell us to unleash, or maybe unleash twice. And whenever that happens, we do whatever it says in the unleash thing. This is because certain cards carry over from Nemesis, from scenario to scenario. So they can just have a generic keyword that gives the boss flavor anyway. So, for example, Maelstrom here is going to deal 3 damage to Gravehold. So each of our characters have 10 HP each, and Gravehold starts with 30 HP. If either of those pools reach 0, so like both of our characters are killed, or Gravehold goes down to 0 HP, then the game ends in a loss. So additional rules: when the keyword assist resolves, we draw the top card of the assist deck and resolve it and place it in the assist discard pile. When the game ends, go ahead and resolve the last card in the assist deck, if able, then continue reading the front of the legacy deck card L03, which is this one. Alright, so at this point, we are ready to go. We draw the first one. See, Alibra goes first. She's going to prep a spell. And she has 4 crystals, which she can play. So technically when you play it, it goes into a play area, and then at the end of the turn, all of the cards that are in the play area are discarded at once. This mostly matters because whatever she buys is immediately placed in her discard pile. And you don't shuffle the discard pile when you go to redraw. So with 4 crystals, we have a couple of options. We could buy Ancient Cyanolith, or Branching Radite, which I think Branching Radite is slightly better. It says 1 vein of pure Radite can power Mage for life. Well, I doubt that, but the Ancient prized this gem for its potential. We could also buy a Neural Wreath, focus any player's breach, and any player may prep a spell in hand. So, for example, I could focus a breach over here and then prep a spell in hand, or I could focus a breach over here and prep a spell in hand over here. Now, what do we mean by focusing breaches? So these are the breaches. You can prep a spell to any breach. However, if it's closed, then come your cast phase next turn, you have to cast the spell that is prepped to it. If it's open, then you may cast a spell that is open to it, which means you could hold back spells that maybe you want to use differently. For example, Gravity Node here. You may decide to hold back on using this if no one wants to discard a card in hand. Anyway, with 4 crystals, we could get a Branching Radite, an Ancient Cyanolith, a Neural Wreath, an Incinerating Fist, a Warping Haze, which is honestly not quite as good as Incinerating Fist, except that it's less expensive. Or we could even get 2 Fire Chakrams. So I think before we're going to get Incinerating Fist and let that be the end of our turn. So eventually, in a turn or two, Eludra will draw Incinerating Fist and be able to display that. So that was her turn. Next is the Nemesis phase. And we start just by drawing here. This is a minion. There are 3 kinds of cards, which you will see pretty soon. There's minions, powers, and I forget what the last ones are called, but they're basically one-time events. In any case, a minion comes out, it has this much health, and it usually has a persistent effect. So, like I said, at the beginning of the Nemesis phase is its main phase, and it just resolves the effects of each power and persistent effect of each minion card in play. So, because there were no cards out in play, we didn't do anything. Attack card, that's a 3rd kind. We moved on straight to the draw phase, where we drew this minion. So this card does nothing this turn, but the next Nemesis turn, it will deal 1 damage to any player. Now it's Nodin's turn. He's going to grab Branching Radite, so that he has a little more economy going on, while Eludra is thinking more about doing some damage. Nemesis phase. Any player suffers 1 damage. Arbitrarily, we will choose Nodin to take 1 damage. And then comes the draw phase. It's an attack. As Gravehold is under siege. As apprentices, you are not prepared, but you must fight. If you are playing with 1/2/3 players, discard the top 4/4/2 cards of the Nemesis deck respectively. Place this card in the Nemesis discard pile, then draw a new Nemesis card. So, what this does is it sets up the Nemesis deck so that it is slightly less dangerous since there are fewer of us. Since there are 2 of us, I discarded the top 4 cards, and then that one, and we move on to this. So this is a simple attack card. Unleash, then Assist. His Unleash is deal 3 damage to Gravehold. And then Assist, we draw this, and it's Mist fury. The battle rages on, and the air is filled with ash, clouding your vision. Suddenly mist whips a lava tendril from the fog, striking the Nameless hard enough to crack its outer shell. Mist deals 10 damage to the Maelstrom. Alright. So now, it's Elidra's turn. So the beginning of her turn is a casting phase, in which she's going to cast the Spark by sending it to the discard pile. I'll have her deal the 1 damage to the Doom Crawler. And then it's a main phase, so I'm going to prep that. And we'll grab another Incinerating Fist for 4 crystals. Now at the end of her turn is a drawing phase. We flip this over without shuffling it. And so as you can see, the first card drew was Incinerating Fist, because that was the lowest card in the deck, in the discard pile. Now similarly, Nodin's gonna go and deal a damage to the Doom Crawler with that Spark. He's gonna grab another Branching Radite for 4 crystals and prep a Spark. And now he's going to have, on his next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with which to purchase things. And we haven't looked at these other things, but Ethereal Hand here is any ally draw 2 cards, and Gilded Marble is very simply 3 ether, I think is what they call it. So now we put this over and keep going. Gonna do a 1 damage to the Doom Crawler with this Spark. We'll buy a Neural Wreath. Well, okay, so here's the other thing we can do. For 4 crystals, we can also just open this breach. If we don't have 4 crystals, we can instead decide to focus it, which turns it clockwise 90 degrees and makes it cheaper and cheaper to open. But for 4, we can just go ahead and open it all at once. And the reason we might do that is because now we suddenly have 2 spells that, you know, maybe we want to split up somehow. Now Nodin's gonna go. And lucky me, we defeated that and put it in there. He does not have any spells, but he's going to draw Ethereal Hand. And I'm probably going to have Nodin play support for Elidra, who has more, and just give her more draw power so that she has more options on her turn. Alright. Now Nodin goes. He does not have any spells ready, so he's just going to cast that there. Or prep that there, rather. He does have 5. I think I'm going to have him go ahead and buy Gravity Node now. And I can choose what order to put these in. And if I'm searching it, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be the hand he's going to get. Well, no. That's not quite true. There's one card left in the deck here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus, I think this is another crystal. Yeah. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the next one, etc., etc. Looks like this. Alright. But Nodin's not going to get another turn until the Nemesis has gone twice and Alidra has gone one more time. So here we go. Alidra is going to use Incinerating Fist to deal 3 damage. That's the wrong way. 3 damage to the Nemesis. We'll prep Incinerating Fist and Spark. And then for 3... I'm going to purchase Warping Haze. And that'll be her turn. Now we get this fun part where the Nemesis gets to go twice in a row and we don't get to do anything about it. So this is a Crush Smasher. Its persistent effect is that Gravehold suffers 2 damage. And look at that, it's a Nemesis turn again, so Gravehold suffers 2 damage from the Crush Smasher. Then we draw. Oh, and it's an attack card. Any player suffers 2 damage. We'll give that to Alidra since Nodin took a hit earlier. Any player discards a gem. So now we are in what do I want to do with my next turn territory. I think you're going to discard a gem. And then we assist. Desmodia drops down from above, her hands beginning to glow as power spreads along her arms. A burst of light escapes her, crashing into Maelstrom as it lets out a pained screech. And Desmodia deals 10 damage to Maelstrom. Alright. Alidra. She has 4 total damage here, so I think she's just going to eliminate this Crush Smasher. Prep a Spark, and for 4, buy another Incinerating Fist. Nemesis phase. There's nothing here, so we just draw the Mantle Augur. Immediately assist, and then its persistent effect is Gravehold suffers 1 damage. Malistar stumbles from a cloud of debris, coughing and covering his mouth. It's up to you now, he wheezes. This will help. Any player gains a gravity node from the supply and places it into their hand. I'm going to give that to Modin. And then it's Alidra's turn. Now, since this is prepped on an open breach, I can decide not to cast it, which is, I think, what I do. because with Warping Haze here, I can prep both of these, and then when I go to cast this one, because I can cast them in any order, this will do a little bit of extra damage because a Spark is out. Because a Spark and Incinerating Fist are out there. Meanwhile, for 3... No, for 3, I'm going to focus this breach. Alright. Nodin's turn. Okay. I'll play the Spark just to deal a damage there. And then we're going to prep this here and not there. We're going to play Ethereal Hands to draw 2 cards immediately. So this looks like 5, but it's actually 6 right now because I have 2 or more prep spells. Which means I could buy another Ethereal Hand if I really wanted. Or another Gravity Node. I'll buy another Gravity Node. For 5. So technically, I didn't use all of this, by the way. When you play them, so I would have played this for 5 Aether and then spent it. And once I've played them, they become discarded. If I chose to, I wouldn't actually have to discard this one. But I don't want to keep it, so I went ahead and played it for the Aether and decided not to use the Aether. And that Aether dissipates at the end of the turn. Nodin. Post actually draws. Okay. Nodin's going to deal 5 damage by discarding a crystal for Gravity Node and then using a Spark. I'm prepping that. Now you have 4 for Grab Incinerating Fist. So this is a little shortcut. I'm going to start discarding over here, flip it there, and then just go back and forth like that. Nemesis. Okay, so Persistent. Gravehold suffers 1 damage. That isn't that big of a deal on its own, which is why I haven't been sending the 8 damage over to it. Okay. To discard, spend 6 Aether. And this is power 2. Alright. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to... And then objects, components, infinite bag. Make this bigger. Pop that in there. Lock that. I didn't make this mod, so there we go. So it spews out some sort of acid fog, and once this ticks down to 0, we do what it says here. First unleash, and then the player with the most open breaches suffers 1 damage. I'm not super worried about that, but it's possible that we won't get a chance to combat that. So let's see. Alidra goes. So first, Warping Haze. That deals 2 damage, and because I have 2 other prep spells, adds 1 more damage. So 3 plus 3 more plus 1 is 7 damage. From this, yeah. I definitely spent that one first. Okay, I don't think it really matters. And then we'll prep these. For 2, is there anything worth doing? Buying a fire chakram? Not really. Alidra goes again and deals another 7 damage. Bringing the boss down to 54 health. And then for 5, yeah, let's buy a gravity node. Why not? Alright. Nemesis. So persistent, Gravefold suffers damage, and then the power kicks down by 1. And then Merciless Titan. The player with the lowest life suffers 1 damage. So right now that's Alidra. Okay, so Nodin. Yeah, it's gonna cast Gravity Node by discarding a crystal. Deal 4 damage to this Titan. And then prep these 2. And play this. I give you 2 cards, see what happens. Alright. I could give you enough to buy something later. And then just discard that. Nemesis. So this goes off. Gravehold suffers 3 damage because of Unleash. And then Alidra takes 1 damage. And then the Merciless Titan attacks the player with the lowest life, which is also Alidra. And then we draw and Flame. Unleash twice. The player with the fewest open breaches suffers 2 damage. Assist. Zaxos arrives. He appears beside you, one hand clutching his wounded side. I can fix this, he yells. He lashes solid black energy from his shadow across Maelstrom's shell. Doubled over with pain, Zaxos stumbles through a breach and vanishes from battle. He deals 10 damage to Maelstrom. So obviously, since this is more of a tutorial battle, we won't always have an assist deck that helps us through, you know. Alright. Who's next? Noden. Oh, you never drew your hand. Well, this is kind of a shame because this is, what, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would have been enough to stop that power from going off. But, you know, it is what it is. We're going to spend a crystal to cast Gravity Node and deal 4 damage. And cast a Spark for 1 more damage. Then for 6, I guess we'll buy another Gravity Node. Alright. And that's the last Gravity Node, so we can't buy any more. Noden. Alright. Let's put Gravity Node and these 2 here. And now this is 3, 4. I might as well open this breach at this point. Nemesis, Grateful takes a damage. Lowest Light takes a damage. And then we draw Desmodia's Flare. Immediately assist. Then draw and resolve a new Nemesis card. Let's make this yellow too. The next time you see Desmodia, she is fully glowing. A sparkling pattern seems to lift off her skin, lighting the rubble around her. Her body is encased in swirling energy as she lifts off the ground. Keep holding, apprentices. My attack is nearly ready. Just a few moments longer. Okay, so when this resolves, we draw an assist card, and Desmodia deals 40 damage to Maelstrom. Okay, so this is Desmodia charging her Kamehameha, I guess. Cool. That's actually a good thing. Alright. You can't do anything, so in terms of casting, so we're going to prep those. And might as well keep working on that breach. Oh, it's the opposite of what I should have drawn. There we go. Nemesis. Clearfold suffers a damage. He takes a damage. This ticks down. Unleash. Any player suffers 4 damage. That's going to be Noden. This is starting to get scary. Okay. So you can deal 7 damage. I think I'm going to do 6 damage to this. With Warping Haze and Incinerating Fist, and 1 damage to this. Finally getting rid of that. What order do I want to... It doesn't really matter, and we're all going to be picked up in the same hand anyway. Let's prep this one over here. That's the only one that okay. And actually, since I can't play this, it does not get discarded. I can play this and then just not use the ether, but alright. Noted. Okay. I'll hit this guy with an incinerating fist to reduce the amount of damage Gravehold is taking. He probably dealt about 5 damage on his own at this point, so oh well. And then yeah, we'll have him discard a crystal for Gravity Node to deal 5 damage to Maelstrom. I'll prep another Gravity Node, play Ethereal Hand to let Nodin draw 2, prep another Gravity Node, and with 4, might as well take the last Incinerating Fist. Alright. Nemesis, this ticks down, nothing else bad happens, except that the Temple Cutter shows up. Immediately assist. Mists Inferno. You watch fire streak above your head. You follow the smoky trail back to Mist, perch atop a crumbling building, throwing flame as fast as you can. We've done all we can. Help Desmodia finish off Maelstrom, she commands, and deals 15 damage to Maelstrom. We think we can steal the kill? I think we can steal the kill. So immediately that happens, and its persistent effect is any player suffers 2 damage and discards a card in hand. However, it's only going to actually go off once, because on the second Nemesis turn, this goes off and kills off Maelstrom before this would have another chance to go. Okay, we're going to discard 2 crystals to deal 8 damage with the Gravity Node. Prep 2 more here, and purchase Warping Haze for 3. Have you discard a crystal for this, for Gravity Node, and then we have 10 damage coming in. Yeah, we can steal the kill. What's in here? Nodin can't quite finish it off, but we'll open that for 3. Elidra, 1 damage there. Well, no. Oh, yes, 1 damage there. And go ahead and prep these guys. And discard through there. Nodin is going to discard a crystal to deal 4 plus 1, 5 damage. I've played this particular scenario a few times just because, like I said, I love this game, and this is my favorite legacy game. I don't think I've ever killed Maelstrom without Desmodia's Flare. Well, the game is ended. Resolve the last card. It's Desmodia's Bombardment. Desmodia continues to rise in the air, radiating so brightly it's difficult to look at her. You did well buying us time. Now I can end this. Take care of Greypool. Desmodia, no! I finished it already! Desmodia! The cavern walls are rocked to their cores. Desmodia releases all of her stored energy at Maelstrom. Alright. Cool. And we didn't see Brahma's Rally, which is Any Player Games 2 Live. Alright. So we're done with Maelstrom here, I believe. We won. We watch from the edge of the caverns as Desmodia faces off against Maelstrom, one bright light against the terrible darkness. Luckily, you managed to do the impossible, hold off Maelstrom's minions long enough to safely evacuate Gravehold. The survivors huddle behind you, terrified. As Desmodia erupts before them, the entire cavern shakes and collapses. Towers fall and buildings crash down upon Maelstrom, burying it underneath a mountain of rubble. Your home, Gravehold, is no more. At least you led many of its citizens to safety. Read the back of this card. Gravehold is gone. Lost beneath the rubble along with your friends, teachers, Desmodia, and most of the other mages. You recognize Mist and Malistar among the survivors tending to the wounded. Zaxxas is among them, his eyes hollow. This is your fault, Mist screams at him, tears in her eyes. Zaxxas backs away slowly. I didn't mean to. I was only trying to protect us. His words become unclear as a dark breach opens behind him. Close it, Zaxxas, Brahma shouts. I beg you. Zaxxas vanishes into the void, his last words echoing in the tunnel. I'm sorry. It takes a true ordeal to access your inner power, Brahma explains. While others search for survivors, you will train with me. Only then will you be able to serve the survivors of Gravehold. So now we're going to actually follow the end of game instructions on page 20. Return to supply all the cards that cost more than 0 Aether, reset the starting decks in the hands, and reset the breaches to their starting positions. Okay. So this shows the starting breaches are like this. Just like that. Reset the health. And technically Gravehold is like super destroyed, but you know. So 4 crystals and a spark go in the hand, and technically in the deck it's in this order, so the spark is on the bottom. And gravity node goes there. There's that. So I don't know exactly which deck was better at the end of that. I tend to think it was Nodin's. He ended up with 4 gravity nodes and had ways of dealing with other threats. But, you know, there's something about getting an early start that probably protected us pretty well from earlier threats. So there's a mix and match there. Alright, so that's the end of game instructions. Each player finds their card that matches their mage in the legacy deck cards L6 through L13. So these are some of the other characters I could have played. I chose these two. And the other cards are banished. Now open Insight 1. Insight 1. Close. Each player chooses one of the starter card effects and adds it to their card. There's the starting hand sticker over the ×4 crystal 1 spark listed in the starting hand section on your map. Choose a name for your starter card and write it on the card on the new blank space on the starting hand, which I won't be doing, but you know, and banish a crystal from the starting hand. So these are banished, and these, in theory, take their place. Okay, so let's take a look at these starting abilities for each of them. So this will go over that spot there. Lock that in place, and I can put the name of the new card there later. So we have 4 spell effects and 4 gem effects. So whatever, this could become a gem or it could become a spell, essentially. So let's go through the spells. First, deal 1 damage and you gain 1 Aether that can only be used to gain a spell. That's kind of okay. Second, deal 1 damage. If this damage is a minion, deal 1 additional damage. So that just deals a little extra damage to minions. Deal 1 damage. If your discard pile contains 4 or more other cards, deal 2 damage. 2 additional damage. So that's something we have an amount of control over. Focus any player's breach. That's fun. That's a fun support spell. Gain an Aether, an ally may discard a spell in hand and draw a card. I don't know about this one. Essentially, you get to discard a spark, probably, in order to draw a card. That's not really good. And it's any ally, so if a leader has it, then only Noden can use that effect. I don't like that very much for this particular go-around. Gain 2 that can only be used to gain a gem. There's something to be said for that. Gain 1, and if you have 3 or more open breaches, you gain 1 light. Okay. Gain 1, you may cast one of your prep spells that cost 4 or less. So this lets you immediately cast a prep spell. So I'm thinking Noden is going to be getting this one. Gain 2 that can only be used to gain a gem. And Alidra is going to be getting this one. Now, what do I want to name these cards? This one lets him ramp up in power quicker. So, let's see. Multiplying gemstones. I'm going to say like exponential value, but I don't think value is quite the right word. Exponential geomancy, why not? So that's this, and then I go to a decal. And I stamp it on there. So now it's like a sticker. This one I'm going to name what focused shot. Reminiscent blast. How's that? Yeah. Stick that sticker on there and then delete these. Now we're basically done with all of this, but I like to leave it out just so I can see. Just so I can see it, basically. So let's see. This was exponential geomancy. Yeah, I guess. Reminiscent blast. There we go. All right. Open the Stop 1D deck. This deck contains supply upgrades. So we are supposed to replace 2 supply piles in the current supply with upgrade supply piles of the same type. Banish the cards you did not choose and the ones you remove from the supply. When you're ready to start Chapter 2, read the next thing. Okay. So let's see, we have Bending Beam. It deals 2 damage, and potentially 5 if this spell was cast from an open number 3 breach. Breach Flare. Deal 2 damage, focus any player's number 3 breach. Fumbling Compound, you gain 2 Aether, and you may discard a gem in hand. If you do, gain an additional 2 Aether. So I could end up discarding this, or a crystal to make this worth 4 Aether. I think that's better than this. I like the idea of geophage, especially in conjunction with exponential geomancy over here. So destroying a gem means like setting it out of play until the end of the scenario. Bending Beam is just kind of okay. It takes a little bit of, well, okay, I'm gonna remove Ethereal Hand and put in Geophage. And we'll toss all of these in the banish supply cards thing over here, which actually you do have a reason to keep them around and not just delete them. Alright, I feel ready to go on to the next chapter, so I'm gonna just set this up to 60 because, you know, armed with more powerful spells and gems, you reflect on Brahma's warnings. We must not grow attached to the breaches or the power they give us. They can corrupt. Forgetting it is an art, one that all breach mages must master. You join the team scouting the tunnels for survivors. Mist and Brahma help where they can, but the pair are still recovering from battle. Your heart elevates with the rescue of each wounded survivor as you dig through what was once your home and discover new tunnels that have been lost to time. Those recovered join your new community, grateful for your assistance. This is Gravehold now, the stalwart survivors under your care. You're deep in one of these tunnels when an ambush is sprung. Growls echo in the dark all around you. What is it? A young survivor beside you asks, clutching jagged stone as a weapon. Wasn't Maelstrom destroyed? You usher the survivors behind you, putting yourselves between them and the oncoming monstrosity. Bladius emerges from the darkness, a bulking beast of thick armor and sharp edges. The minions of Maelstrom have regrouped under the leadership of Maelstrom's deadly lieutenant. Bladius snarls its challenge. You hardly have time to react before it lunges at your group. Okay. So get Bladius ready. Open the Stop 2 deck. That has all of the Nemesis cards next to Bladius. Okay. Open Insights 2A and 2B. I see. Apply all rulebook stickers to the rulebook. So we have cards that can evolve from let's see, where does this go? Beginning in chapter 2, here we go. When a Nemesis card triggers the evolve keyword, you basically put a sticker on it. And if there are no more slots for the sticker, you go to the evolve deck. And grab a more dangerous card out of it that will be used in future games, basically. And then they provided some counters here, but there's also a decal. So I'm just actually not sure where the evolve deck is. Oh wait. Open the Stop E deck. Perhaps it's in here. Here it is. Yeah, the evolve deck. And do not look at any cards. Okay. I'll just leave it in there for now. Follow the game setup on page 8 and fight Bladius. at the end of your game versus Gladius. Read the back of this card. So, page 8. Start with player setup, which is already done basically. Turn order deck. Nemesis deck. Oh, I see. Okay. So we're not supposed to shuffle this because it came directly out of the Gladius thing. But when we're done, we're going to put all the basic Nemesis cards in here. So, for reference, actually, Gladius was, in fact, a card that we were actually supposed to find as a minion, but we finished the game a little earlier than maybe we otherwise should have. Which is why we know who Gladius is, basically. This creature served as a lieutenant for the nameless Maelstrom. It was bred for battle, and every adaptation to its body serves to further its natural abilities. It has sharp edges and deadly blades, excelling at hand-to-hand combat. Why is it searching these tunnels is unknown to us. Perhaps it seeks the last remnants of humanity here to snuff us out. Or perhaps there's more to these tunnels than we know. So there's no special setup. It's level 1. Vastly overestimated itself. Increased difficulty, we generally ignore. That's something for if you want to play with this Nemesis in non-legacy form. So yeah. Unleash, the player with the fewest open breaches suffers 2 damage. Additional rules. If Gladius would draw a card and cannot, it escapes and the players lose. So actually, usually that's a win condition for the players, I believe. Yeah, if the Nemesis has no cards in his deck and no minions or powers in play at the end of any turn, the Nemesis would then lose. However, in this case, if it would draw and it cannot, which those are not mutually exclusive, by the way. Theoretically, it could be out of cards in the deck, and we could finish off everything left on the table before it would have to go and draw a card. And we could win that way. So yeah. Alright, so now we fight Gladius. What happens first? He gets a drop on us. Okay. If you're playing with 1, 2, 3 players, banish the top 5, 4, 3 cards of the Nemesis deck. Then draw a new Nemesis card. So this is to see what basic cards are going to be removed from the game. Because these are banished. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are banished. Then draw a new Nemesis card. Unleash. The player with the fewest open breaches suffers 2 damage. We're going to arbitrarily choose Nodin for that. Fraypold suffers 2 damage. If this is chapter 4 or higher, this evolves. It is not chapter 4 or higher, so that is it. Alright, Noden goes first. Perhaps that. We have 2 that can be used for a gem. 4, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to purchase Crumbling Compound. I don't think I should have gotten both of these together. I think that was a mistake. Oh well. A lead whip. We're going to prep that spark here, and reminiscent blast here. And then you have 3 with which to do something. I think just gain an ancient cyanolith. Noden deals 1 damage to Bladius. Preps this and has 4 with which to do something. We'll prep it. We'll buy an Incinerating Fist, why not? Alright. There we go. That's a lot of gems, okay. Now Nemesis, nothing out here, so he does this. Okay, as a persistent effect, this evolves, and when you evolve this card, read EO2, which I believe is just the very first one here. EO1 is a be careful, don't read any further. So yeah. If we can take that out before that could happen, that would be really nice. So we have 4 or more cards in the discard. So this deals, and actually we could use the spark first, but we don't have to. So if we use the spark, deal 1 damage, and then we check, okay, 4 more cards in the discard, so this deals 3 damage. Prep a spark, and for 4, we'll grab Incinerating Fist. Alright. Coolio. And we hope that we go before the Nemesis gets a turn. We do. We spark, killing the Leviathan egg. So why that's good is now whatever it would have evolved into, it doesn't get a chance to do that until the next scenario. So we won't have to worry about it until the next scenario. And it could be some really nasty stuff later on down the line. In case you're wondering why we didn't just deal an 1/8 of the boss's damage, like HP to it. Alright, so this can be 4, which I think it should be. Then we have 5, 6. and an extra 2 if we want, so like 7, 8. So we'll get this for 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the remaining 3 will buy a geophage with it. I'm going to make sure there's a crystal next to that, which I think there should be anyway. So the geophage is essentially just a crystal that destroys other crystals, if I want it to be. Otherwise, it can just be a regular crystal. Nemesis. Parry. Crayfold suffers 2 damage. Any player discards a prep spell. It's only 1 prep spell, so that's the one we discard. Alidra, you're going to prep that. For 5, grab a gravity node. Alidra again. Deal 1 damage to Bladius. Prep these. And for 3, get Warping Haze, I think. Alright. Nemesis. Crayfold suffers 4 damage. Any player discards a card in hand. I think I want you to have 4. And you discard this. I've been playing this wrong. I've just realized. The other thing about closed breaches... it's too late to go back and refix everything now. But the other thing about closed breaches is in order to actually prep to them, you have to spend... you have to either focus it or open it that turn. So, for example, I'm going to focus this for 2 crystals and prep a spark to it. Nemesis. Here we go. Caustic Larva. Has 10 health. And a persistent ability to both unleash and evolve. So it can evolve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then the 6th time it would evolve, it's probably no longer a caustic larva, it's more like a caustic pupa. So I'd like to eliminate that. Noden never drew. Okay, nice. He's going to deal 3 damage to the larva and 1 damage to Bladius, because we do have to start dealing damage to Bladius. Alright, we're going to discard a gem to make this 4, and then play this for 5 and destroy this gem. So now we have 5, we'll grab Gravity Node. Whoop. Nemesis. Player with the fewest open breaches suffers 2 damage. That can be anyone, so we're going to choose Elidra arbitrarily. And then this evolves. Next is you. We'll throw that at you. I'll hold this back. And for 4, I'm going to open this and prep a gravity node there. Okay. We'll discard that for gravity node to deal 4 damage. And then deal 3 damage to Bladius with Reminiscent Blast. Prep Warping Haze and a Spark, and discard this. Now it's Nodin. I'm actually going to discard this. And with 7, I'm going to buy Gravity Node and focus this. Oh, that first Spark. All right. Oh, that's why I did so well against Maelstrom. It's a harder game now. All right, we'll focus this. Prep these. Call it a turn. Nodin again. We'll deal 4 damage. Prep these. And play all of these for an additional crumbling compound. All right. Nemesis. Unleash. The players collectively discard 3 cards in the hand. That's gonna be... That's going to be this. Alright. Then you go. And you just deal 3 damage, I think. Prep these 2. Alright. And for... we deal 4 more damage. Prep the gravity node. And for 5, I think we moved that forward. And I don't see a reason to buy a fire chakram. For the remaining 2. And then, whoa, what a surprise, a nemesis. Okay. The player with the lowest life suffers 1 damage. Okay, and then evolve, we read E04. As the nameless strikes you, a strange brand appears burned into your skin. Your chest tightens and you can't breathe. You know the nameless aren't finished with you. So we banish Hunted. Place E05 into the nemesis discard pile. And the player who suffered damage from Hunted writes their name on E05. So that was Aludra. And this is done as well. Alright. That's not terribly good. Unleash twice and Aludra suffers 3 damage. So we gotta remember from now on that Aludra has 3 damage coming to her at any given time. Voracious Corroders, immediately read E06. A massive breach opens, and a swarm of metallic bugs surrounds you. You can feel the power of the newly opened breach surge through you. Open Insight 3. And apply all rulebook stickers. Apply a 4th breach sticker to the upper right-hand corner of each player's playmat. All right. H and O. Some breaches have a +1 damage when cast effect when they are open. Any spell cast from an open breach with this effect deals 1 additional damage, even if that spell's effect would not normally do damage. Some breaches have effects that occur when a spell is cast from that breach when it is open. Okay. Open box A. Give each player a 4 breach. Each player places it to the right of their 3 breach with the open side face up. During setup of all other games, 4 breaches will start the game closed. Cool. And then as a persistent effect, Gravehold is going to suffer 2 damage. So we'll want to stop that as soon as we can. So for now, we have a more powerful breach over here. It deals 1 additional damage for every cast. Nodin's turn. It's going to deal 5 damage. Split up 4 and 1. Prep that there. And then we have 6 to work with. Let's grab another gravity node. Oh. Next, Nemesis. Gravehold suffers 2 damage. Okay, to discard, spend 7 Aether, or else unleash twice. Gravehold. Then if Gravehold has 13 or more life, this evolves. Okay, we're going to discard that to deal 4 damage. There. Prep this, and for 3, focus this, because why not? Cool. Nodin is going to deal 4 damage. To Bladius. And prep 2 spells. Go ahead and discard that. Actually, hold on. Don't discard that. Yeah, okay. Elidra can deal 4 damage. And prep a bunch of stuff. Spinning 2 into the ether, I guess. Okay, she's gonna spark this. Okay, yeah. And then deal... Oh, well, first she actually dealt 3 damage here. Then sparked that. Then dealt 3 more damage. There. Prep a spark, might as well be there. and finally open this breach. Beautiful. Okay. You are going to discard this. Oh, hold on. First. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you are going to discard this for 4, 5, 6, 7, which allows us to discard this. Noden goes. Just prep some stuff. Discard that for 4. Because why not? Alidra goes. Sparks for 2 damage and kills Bladius. There we go. Record the result of this game on page 20 of the rulebook. I'm just gonna use a note card. Don't I have an even better note card, don't I, that can like scroll? Oh well. All right. Alrighty. Gladius drops to one knee, exhausted and wounded. It stares up at you, hate gleaming in its eyes. Equally exhausted, you step forward to finish the beast off, ensuring the safety of the survivors behind you. You have won the day, but it doesn't take long for the harsh reality to sink in. Gladius wasn't even a fully fledged nameless, and yet he matched you evenly. You'll need more training before your next fight. You're training with Brahma when Mist returns from her patrol. Attract the fleeing minions through the caves. Mist points to the craggy rocks overhead. They are above us, gathering on the surface. The world we thought was ruined. You'll have to see it yourself. Legend says the world above was destroyed, yet as you follow Mist out of the cave, you see a green canopy before you, large trees, rushing streams, and creatures fluttering in the air. You never imagined the surface would be so alive after spending your entire life underground in Gravehold. If you haven't opened box A, read E07. We have opened box A and retrieved our, yeah. There's much to do, and everyone has a task to complete. Yours is to defend the camp. You spend time training with Mist, learning to channel your unique abilities. The coming days will be difficult, and the power you possess will prove invaluable. Open Insight 4. Rulebook stickers QANFMY. QANF. NFMY. Oh wait, but K. QA, not K. Okay. And player reference cards. Yeah, it's already on them. Okay. Each player places a charge strip sticker on the bottom of their player mat and chooses an ability. I'll come back to those abilities in a second. Open box B. Let's make this like gray. Yeah. All right. So now we can start tidying up. Alright. Now we get to sort stuff out. Basic, basic, basic. Bladius, 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 Bladius. Basic 2. There we go. Alright, and these are set aside in order to set up future Nemesis decks. Alright, now's a good time to take a look at these abilities. So in order to get these abilities, you spend a total of 6 charges altogether, which you can gain one at a time by spending 2 Aether. So sometimes you just kind of have leftover Aether at the end of the turn. It's a great time to start charging for your special ability. Among other things, in the late game, that might be your that might be what the only thing you do with Aether, basically. So, abilities. Gravehold gains 5 life. Each ally draws 2 cards. Deals 7 damage to a minion. Cast any player's prep spell without discarding it with 1 additional damage. Gain 2 gems from any gem supply pile. Put one of those in any ally's hand. I'm reading that as they have to be the same gem, any supply pile. Yeah. Gain a spell from any supply pile and place that into any ally's hand. Cast all of your prep spells that cost 4 or less. They deal 1 additional damage. Okay. So I think any player gaining 3 life is arguably the most important thing we can do. I'm going to pop that on Nodin. Because that extends the time that that extends these timers, essentially. We have less health altogether than Gravehold does. Now deal 7 damage to a minion. Oh, but it has to be to a minion. This isn't very good, really. That's just Nodin draws 2 cards in this particular situation. This might be really, really powerful. Restoring 1/6 of its total health back to it. That could essentially give us an extra turn. Maybe two. This eliminates a specific enemy, a specific minion, essentially. I'm going for it. Deal 7 damage to a minion. Alright, this is going to be Snipe. A little higher. No, but higher. That'll work. And this... Let's go with Healing Wind. Or you know what? What if we went with the Geomancy thing? So like Healing Clay? Restorative Clay. Yeah, Noden is now a Geomancer. It's very official at this point. Alright, let's see. Entangled Shard. What would we be swapping out for? Probably Branching Radite. Do we think 3 or more charges is more likely? I don't think so. Force Transfusion. Deal 3 damage. If you have 3 or more charges, gain 1 charge. That's really good. Because it's essentially a straight upgrade to Incinerating Fist, isn't it? Okay. Starfire Frenzy. Deal 4 damage. You may discard a spell in hand. If you do, deal 1 additional damage and gain 1 charge. That's not that great. Let's deal 4 damage, discard a spark to instantly cast it and gain a charge. Brain Knight. Gain a charge. Any ally focuses their close breach with the lowest focused cost. It's okay. It's okay. But we have to take one of them, don't we? Or the Entangled Shard, which is just meh. I think this is bad. I think that's a bad spell. Which leaves me to... This is kind of a slide grade for Branching Radite. And this is kind of a downgrade to Neural Reef, but the charge might be good. Okay. I convinced myself the charge might be better than I'm giving it credit for. Okay. Now it says, do not read the back of this card until you are ready to start Chapter 3. I think that's a pretty good place to stop for now, though. Yeah, I'll stop there for now. Alright, thanks for tuning in if you were here. That's gonna be that.